The mutant hero known as Sunfire is fighting for his life. He may not be an Omega level mutant, he's easily one of the most powerful heroes on Marvel Earth. I mean, we're talking about a guy who generates superheated plasma hotter than the sun, who's nuked millions of tons of matter like it was nothing, and even absorbed the energy of a celestial. Celestials are like space gods, so he's pretty powerful, right? Unbeatable, right? Wrong. None of that compares to the power of Godzilla. Actually, I think it's a little refreshing to see Godzilla fight a Japanese superhero, and apparently Sunfire, he's been eager to prove himself against the legendary kaiju for quite some time, but of course now Sunfire greatly regrets this decision. Within the past few weeks, Godzilla has been relentlessly attacking Sugunai Robotics. Sunfire can't stop the monster, but he knows a group of mutants that might have what it takes. Enter Professor X, founder of the X-Men. Mr. Kaneda, Sugunai Robotics' CEO, believes force should be answered with force. He wants very large weapons to be used against Godzilla like at once. But Sunfire rebukes this, stating it has all been done before and failed spectacularly every time. Xavier teaches the X-Men to protect a world that hates and fears them. So the irony of humans seeking his help by pleading for them to use their mutant powers to exterminate another mutant, yeah, the irony is not lost on him. But Xavier can't condone or condemn what he doesn't understand. Godzilla isn't indiscriminately destroying facilities. He appears to have a motive. Xavier believes that because Godzilla shows reason, there's a chance he can be reasoned with. And if Godzilla can't be reasoned with, the X-Men will be forced to use lethal force with extreme prejudice, which is, again, ironic. Speaking of the X-Men, they're in the danger room, training to fight, you know who? Godzilla. Even at full power, Cyclops' optic blast can barely penetrate the anticipated density of Godzilla's hide. Jean Grey struggles in stopping its flame breath, which Storm catches with a tornado. The mistress of the elements deduces Godzilla's heat beam has a radioactive component. Xavier notifies them that the Commission of Superhuman Activities have greenlit the X-Men's assistance. While Xavier would very much like to resolve things peacefully, there's a high probability that Godzilla, he's gonna choose violence. Cyclops points out that Godzilla is over 100 meters tall. So despite all the training and such, if the kaiju does choose violence, they're at his mercy. Like pretty much most things in existence. But Xavier has an ace up his sleeve. In a top secret base in Colorado, Gambit procures what is known as a super Adaptoid. It's basically a robot capable of copying superpowers. Even more interesting, Gambit has PIM particles. As the days come and go, Godzilla is literally lying in wait for a new shipment to arrive. Once it does, he moves in to destroy it, but the X-Men are ready. Inside the Blackbird, the X-Men link their minds. Xavier can't read Godzilla's mind, but he senses tremendous rage. Whatever is on that ship is really ticking the big guy off. To stop Godzilla, the X-Men will have to work together like never before. It's then the Super Adaptoid reveals itself in the most epic way possible. From the stratosphere, it falls, breaking the sound barrier. Its telekinetic shield deflects the heat of atmospheric re-entry. As it falls closer to its target, it feels the weather, and Godzilla is instantly rocked by lightning. The Super Adaptoid arrives, and it looks awesome. But there are so many minds trying to drive this thing. I mean, to bring order to this chaos, Xavier has to take the mental wheel. Sunfire asks the X-Men if the Adaptoid's combined powers will be enough. Godzilla answers by roaring like an angry god, a true force of nature. Yeah, I'm not liking their chances. But Xavier is more optimistic than some hack YouTuber. Like and subscribe, by the way. And that would be because the the construct not only wields the combined powers of the X-Men, it's taken the size-altering Pym particles. For a brief moment, even Godzilla is taken aback. The Super Adaptoid unleashes a kaiju-sized variant of Cyclops' optic blast, to which Godzilla retaliates with a blast of his own. The X-Men's Adaptoid telekinetically bends Godzilla's beam out of harm's way, while telepathically sensing unparalleled rage in the behemoth. Suddenly, the Blackbird picks up massive mechanical activity coming from inside the cargo ship that Godzilla was hunting earlier. Both Godzilla and the X-Men Adaptoid immediately stop fighting. As Gambit puts it, this is the part where the enemy of their enemy becomes their friend. Okay, so brace yourselves, because nobody saw this coming. The Tri-Sentinel Mecha Kaiju has been unleashed. Sugunai Robotics and Trask Industries, you know, the guys that make those mutant hunting sentinels? Yeah, they've joined forces to create a super sentinel capable of defeating monsters and mutants alike. The Tri-Sentinel contains the forms and powers of 3 immensely powerful kaiju: Biollante, Batra, and Fire Rodan. This immediately explains why the Tri-Sentinel is on equal footing with Godzilla. Both titans engage in a good old-fashioned kaiju beam war, but the X-Men Adaptoid channels Storm's weather abilities, manifesting a 200-mile wind gust that forces the Tri-Sentinel to fly up. This exposes its lower half to Godzilla's beam and the X-Adaptoid's Wolverine claws. As the crisis escalates, the X-Men are surprised to learn that the area hasn't been fully evacuated. In fact, most of the civilians in the area work at Sugunai Robotics. They didn't leave because they thought the Tri-Sentinel they helped build would protect them. The Tri-Sentinel ensnares Godzilla, but Godzilla answers back by vaporizing its Biollante head. Behind the Tri-Sentinel, the X-Men Adaptoid jumps up and buries its Wolverine claws deep into its chest, effectively holding the Mecha Kaiju in place long enough for Godzilla to power up. When humanity's hate and fear grow, they invent bigger weapons. But no one is bigger than the king of the monsters. Godzilla vaporizes both the Tri-Sentinel and the X-Men Adaptoid in a blazing beam of light. Another battle ends, another battle is won. But the war won't be won until the reason for the fighting ends. Godzilla looms over Kaneto. The tiny CEO cowers behind a shipping container. The X-Men rush not only to his defense per se, but to Godzilla's as well. Xavier makes a startling discovery. He can't link his psychic powers with Godzilla's mind because its thoughts are formed not by words, but emotions. And what happens next is easily one of my favorite parts, not only in this comic, but the entire Godzilla vs. Marvel run. Now knowing how Godzilla's mind works, Xavier psychically transmits their hope to the king of the monsters. And it's there they see something that happened in the past. In 1955, half a century ago, there was a fierce battle between Godzilla and Anguirus. Kaneto's father had recently joined the newly established Japanese self-defense force. Unfortunately, he died in the kaiju mayhem. Kaneto hated the kaiju for what they did to his family that day. But with their minds linked, Xavier shares that Godzilla wants Kaneto to know the truth. He did not kill his father. Godzilla was there to put an end to Anguirus' rampage. Initially, Kaneto takes offense to all this, believing the X-Men are siding with the monster. These are mutants we're talking about. They, more than anyone, understand what it's like to be Godzilla. There is a profound loneliness of protecting a world that fears and hates you. Godzilla takes his lead, entrusting the X-Men to keep the humans in check. The X-Men say their goodbyes to Sunfire before blasting off in the Blackbird. Sunfire and Kaneto have a final exchange, where Sunfire ponders if Kaneto will switch from despising kaiju to hating mutants. Like the X-Men before him, Sunfire blasts off while pointing out that perhaps Kaneto should look in the mirror to see who the real monster was all along. And that brings an end to this video. What did you think of Godzilla vs. X-Men? Sound off in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed your stay at Kaijutopia. Friendly reminder, however, do not feed the kaiju. It never ends well. Hey, peace. I'll see you all later.